Tensions on the global stage are reaching new heights as speculation swirls around a potential meeting, or showdown, between Russian President Vladimir Putin and former U.S. President Donald Trump. What was once seen as a dramatic, high-stakes moment for international politics now faces significant uncertainty, with the International Criminal Court's (ICC) arrest warrant for Putin looming large. The development has thrown a shadow over any in-person diplomacy involving the Russian leader, particularly in countries that are signatories to the Rome Statute, the treaty underpinning the ICC. The ICC's warrant, issued in relation to alleged war crimes in Ukraine, complicates Putin's travel plans considerably. Any visit to a nation under ICC jurisdiction could result in legal moves against him, something that is unprecedented for a sitting leader of a major nuclear power. This creates an unusual and potentially explosive diplomatic challenge. If a Putin-Trump meeting were to take place on neutral or ICC signatory soil, the host country would be caught in a storm of legal, political, and security dilemmas. Trump, on the other hand, is navigating his own political and legal pressures back home. With the 2024 U.S. presidential race gathering momentum, his foreign policy posturing remains under scrutiny. Trump has previously claimed he could end the war in Ukraine within 24 hours of taking office, a bold promise that many analysts see as unrealistic, but one that plays well with his political base. A meeting with Putin, in theory, could bolster his image as a dealmaker, but the optics of engaging with a leader under an international arrest warrant would be politically dangerous in the U.S. Meanwhile, reports are emerging that Russia may be exploring the idea of using NATO territory as a venue for potential negotiations over Ukraine. This suggestion, on the surface, sounds contradictory given Moscow's deep hostility toward NATO since the invasion began. However, analysts believe this could be a calculated strategic move, a way for Russia to test the alliance's unity, probe Western red lines, and portray itself as willing to engage in talks on neutral ground. NATO states, however, face a bind. Hosting talks involving Putin could be seen as legitimizing his leadership despite the ICC charges, undermining the West's hard line against Moscow's actions in Ukraine. At the same time, refusing any such discussions could allow Russia to paint NATO as obstructionist, unwilling to seek peace, and thus sway some segments of international opinion in its favor. Behind the scenes, the calculus for both Moscow and Washington is becoming more complex. Putin is under increasing domestic and international pressure as the war drags on into its third year, with economic sanctions biting deeper and Ukraine continuing to receive Western military aid. Trump, for his part, is balancing campaign trail promises with the geopolitical realities of dealing with Russia, a country he has both criticized and praised in the past. What makes this scenario particularly volatile is the interplay between legal constraints, political optics, and military realities. If Putin were to travel to NATO territory, even under the guise of peace talks, it would be one of the most provocative diplomatic moments in recent history. The ICC warrant would force host countries to either defy their treaty obligations or risk a diplomatic crisis with Moscow. For Trump, being seen alongside Putin, in a high-profile setting, could either enhance his reputation as a bold negotiator or sink him under accusations of appeasing an indicted war crimes suspect. As the situation develops, one thing is clear. Any meeting between Putin and Trump, whether on NATO soil or elsewhere, will not happen in a vacuum. It will be a chess match played on multiple levels, legal, political, and strategic, with each move scrutinized by allies, adversaries, and the global public. For now, the ICC's shadow looms large, and the world waits to see whether this potential political drama will unfold or fade into the realm of speculation. The stakes are enormous, and the outcome, if it happens at all, could reshape the trajectory of the war in Ukraine and the broader balance of power for years to come.